Welcome. This is Apollo 25. We look at issues that border on relationship, inter-relationship, interpersonal relationship. Now, there's breaking news. People are reacting, various views over Trump's decision to revoke the Civil Rights Act of 1967. And there's a panic across liberals and Democrats over this issue. And some people are getting emotional about it, talking about the things that the founding fathers in terms of civil rights act movement in America fought for and how Donald Trump is trying to take it off. And so we're trying to look at the various perspective and how that has to do with our interpersonal relations with those of racial backgrounds, colored people and the likes. And I'm of the divergent view or of a different opinion that that is not what this act is about to show. So we're going to look at various content creators and what they think about this act and how that really applies to the American people as a whole. So watch back and let's watch these videos.
One thing I can say about y'all Trump fans is that y'all are dedicated for no reason. And I mean truly dedicated, okay? For example, y'all's favorite president revoked the 1965 Civil Rights Act. Y'all so dedicated, y'all lie to yourselves to make it seem like it makes sense. But it truly don't make sense because this man really revoked the 1965 Civil Rights Act because he doesn't believe in equity and equality for everyone. But y'all are just so gun ho. And it amazes me because he's the one that's cutting connections with different countries and y'all think it's for the best. Where? Make that make sense.
I don't care what nobody says. This motherfucker just took away the Equal Employment Act. I can't, you cannot make this shit up. I don't give a fuck.
You can make this shit up. In fact, what you're saying right now is made up.
You can call me a crying liberal. I don't give a fuck. You guys are disgusting. This country is disgusting.
Okay, I did not vote for Donald Trump, but I can't sit here and allow people to buy into propaganda and get emotionally upset over things that are not fully true. So we're going to talk about what is happening with Trump reversing Executive Order 11246. There are really big accounts tweeting that Donald Trump revoked the Equal Employment Opportunity Act of 1965, saying that the order prohibited discrimination in hiring and employment based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. People are saying, so you're telling me a job can now not hire me based on my race or religion? And the answer to that is no. Companies still cannot discriminate against you when hiring you because that is already codified into law. And the president doesn't have the power with an executive order to supersede congressional law. So discrimination based off of certain characteristics is still illegal. Trump did not make it legal again. He simply reversed EO 11246. So let's get into what exactly this is. Executive Order 11246 was an executive order that required affirmative action and prohibits federal contractors from discriminating on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, and sexual orientation. So the reason Trump reversed this old executive order is because it requires affirmative action. Trump has been very outspoken about being anti-DEI. So when this executive order gets reversed, it should not be surprising to anyone that he doesn't want to have quotas or to hire people based off of their skin color, their sexual orientation, or whatever it might be. It's also worth noting that this executive order only applies to federal contractors. So if you are working in the private sector and you are not working for the federal government or with the federal government, this quite literally has nothing to do with you. Now, the one caveat here, which people are rightfully upset about, is that in some states, you can still be discriminated against based off of your sexual orientation. So when the president puts an executive order like this in place that only applies to federal contractors, a lot of companies will not discriminate based off of sexual orientation because they need those government contracts to stay in business. So it's kind of like a trickle-down effect where the rest of the market follows. But in MAGA's eyes, affirmative action is more destructive than protecting gay people in a half-ass way. So yes, some people do have valid concerns when it comes to Trump reversing this executive order, but in no way, shape, or form is this action going to turn the US into a dystopia that openly discriminates against people like it was in the 50s. Now, don't confuse this video as being a pro-Trump video or a pro-Democrat video. I didn't make it for that reason. I'm not partisan. I made it so you can see what the truth is and then decide how you want to react. But one thing I will say, and I'll leave you with this, if liberals do not start looking into things before emotionally reacting, you are crying wolf and losing credibility with middle voters. People will stop listening to your valid criticisms of the president if your other ones weren't based in truth.
So, welcome back. You could see from the various people who we featured on their various content creation. The first lady was just being emotional. I was speaking from a very emotional state of point of view, while the second guy, the second content creator, was more analytic in his analysis and approach. And sometimes, for things to really get bad, things need to get for things to really get good first, they need to get bad, and sometimes certain things might bring certain discomfort, but it is for the ultimate good. Because I also watched some clips this evening where some individuals were blaming the black community for voting in Trump and taking bribes and all that, and these were statements that were coming from the liberals. I'm not a pro-Trump person, but I just want to look at things from an unbiased perspective and view as how it relates to our relationship and interaction with people in the workplace and job acquisition and employment in the United States of America. So I would like to hear what you have to say concerning this policy that have been enacted by the new sworn in president of the United States of America, and what is your view?